welcome everybody. Thank you for joining this global live stream experience, reaching kids through COVID-19. We are so excited. We have an all-star panel of guests coming up. We really need to thank them because I gave them 3 different dates and I got it wrong, but they are willing to jump on at a moment's notice and tell them everything we've learned. It's been a big 4 weeks around the globe, and we've all had to learn a lot of things to try and transition from running our kids' ministries the way we've run them for many, many years and innovate on the spot. So we've connected, we've learnt a lot, but we've also connected with people around the world who are leading in this space in different areas, and we're really excited to learn from them, learn together and help impact you in your kids' ministry. We believe that this season, even though it's challenging, is going to help push you guys forward, and we want to be there cheering you on. It's really exciting. We've got Ryan Frank from Kidzmatter coming on. We've got Andy Kirk from ACCKids, Beth Cunningham, Church of the Highlands. They run amazing small group experiences. I'm really keen to hear how are they doing that in light of COVID. We've got Yancy, international singing sensation Yancy from Yancy Ministries is coming. Did I forget anyone else? And our premier speaker, Craig Johnson, who's going to be talking through the challenges special needs families are facing at the moment and how we can impact them. But our first guest is really exciting. He's a dear, close personal friend. He used to play the bugle in the army, but he's actually the head of Hillsong Music Resources and also legal counsel for Hillsong Church. He's going to be talking to us about how you can access our content during this time and how to share that with your kids' ministry. So we're going to come back in just a minute with your host, Dave, and he's going to be interviewing Tim. So stick around. Oh, and if you've got questions and comments, we've got a live chat, so you can put there. We'll be monitoring that. We'll be answering some of those, and we might even get some of those questions to the interviewees. They're interviewers, yes. We're interviewers. Dave Wakely, the interviewer, with interviewee Tim Whincop, coming up soon.
Everybody, welcome back. My name's Dave. This has officially started. We have a whole bunch of guests coming up one by one, gold after gold, guest after guest. My first guest, Tim Whincop, a legal wizard, and also pretty much every album you've ever got over the last 20 years from Hillsong Music, he made it get to your ears. All right, let's put him up in the corner, Brookie. Is he there? Hey, Tim, how's it going?
Hey, Dave. Good to be here.
Very, very good. You may not have played on every album, but you definitely got every album to the people. You helped get the music to the people.
Look, it's a big team. I've been part of some of the journey. It's been a privilege, but I think now is a really interesting season because so many people are stuck at home. So it's an awesome opportunity for us to actually reach people. So
yeah,
I think this whole initiative of trying to get kids ministers and people together is going to really help facilitate reaching parents and children. So it's awesome.
Absolutely. Now, the reason you're here with us is because we wanted to start off with a bit of a technical question. There's a lot of discussion we're going to have about ministry, but I wanted to address one of the biggest questions that we get at the very, very beginning. Obviously, Hillsong Kids has music going back 2004, almost 20 years now. And that's a lot of music, and it's a lot of music that at this season people really want to be able to use in their ministries. Now, in the past, that was easy. You buy a CCLI license and you're good to go pretty much. So the question that we're going to start off today for you is that what are the main things that you need to know about using Hillsong music in your live streams or in any kind of context? What's changed? Well,
I'm sure all the kids ministers watching this are going to want to hear a big legal lecture on intellectual property.
Yeah, that's what we want. Intellectual property.
So I think it's important to know that your CCLI license is still very important. There's two main aspects to audiovisual that's going to be presented. One is what they refer to as the musical compositions, so the song. And then the second one is the master, what's actually being played back. So the first one is covered by your CCLI license. What CCLI have done is they've done a global streaming add-on. So if your church has that global streaming add-on, which I know many do now, you'll be covered for any streaming of that underlying song. And then what we're doing through this time for our songs, and I can't speak for every ministry, but what we're doing for our songs, and even if you own big curriculum for your normal ministry or you've got a Big Plus subscription, we're open to you during this COVID time, just streaming that content on YouTube, and then YouTube will do its thing on the back end and claim monetization via Content ID, but it's not like a whole lot of money or anything like that. But it does take care of it behind the scenes. Sometimes, because technical systems are what they are, sometimes they do have these automated blocks that kick in. We've done our best to work with the engineering team at YouTube to ensure that doesn't happen. But sometimes it unfortunately has happened. So if that does happen, you can email digitaldelivery@hillsong.com straight away, digitaldelivery@hillsong.com, and they'll get onto that immediately and work that through with YouTube straight away, and we can whitelist your channel and all those things to make sure that actually works properly. So my suggestion would be to test something first from a stream perspective, make sure it all works properly. But ultimately through this time, through this COVID season, we want to empower ministries to reach children, because it's such an awesome opportunity to actually, reach people for the gospel. So
absolutely. Just a question here. I guess the question is, you're talking about live streaming. So is that okay if a church live streams a service, which is great, but what about they record a whole kind of service for their kids and then put it up on YouTube? Is that the same as streaming and then pre-recording everything the same thing?
Yeah, it's generally treated the same. So it's fine for it to continue to work like that. The key thing for us is obviously we don't just want you to repost our content into single songs or anything like that. It needs to be part of your overarching service and your overarching stream. So, ideally how that outworks is then up to your ministry. But during this season in particular, for at least the next 6 months, we just want to empower the ministries to do what they need to do. So
amazing. Very, very helpful. Okay, that's really, really simple. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, there is a chat. In that chat, hopefully our team will have typed that email, digitaldelivery@hillsong.com, in case you're wondering. So that's any questions you have or any issues that you're facing with streaming content on YouTube specifically or anywhere, just get in touch with them. Also, if you have any questions, type them in there. Anything that we think, I'll ask Tim. We might be able to get some of the questions, especially as we go through all of our guests. Tim, that's the main thing there. That's really the main question for you today, and it's good coming from an absolute pro. I guess final question here, and we're going to be asking this question of every guest. What do you think will change once this whole season is over and we go back to church? Not as normal, but what will be the new normal? And from your perspective, and especially from a music perspective, from a music resources perspective, what do you think the new normal might look like? One aspect that you're excited about potentially.
I think the exciting part is access to people and the consistent conversation of what this actually looks like. And, you know, the process of discipleship doesn't need to be like it traditionally has. And I think, you know, there's these mindsets that can kick in just as a result of this is how we do things. This is how we do things. And, you know, as a church, we've often called those brass values. And what are our gold values? And our gold values is we want to reach and influence the world. So from our perspective, we want to reach people in whatever sphere of life they're in, and empower them to lead an impact in that sphere. And so for us, I think music and resources is undergirding that in a whole lot of ways, because there's just so much access to content, so much ability for us to be able to speak to people directly through content now, and the ability to just jump on calls and do this sort of stuff quickly. Obviously, I miss face as an extrovert. I miss face-to-face people. I don't know whether anybody's seen that meme. Check on your extrovert friends. They're not okay. But, you know, for me, this Zoom process is vital, but the ability to be able to reach people with content and talk interactively with them via socials, via chats, all those sorts of things, I think is fundamental to how we do ministry moving forward.
Amazing. Well, that's it. I feel like it's a cultural shift that may consume content in a very different way, and the church is poised to take advantage of that. Tim, thanks so much for joining us. You are the first out of many guests today. Really good, really helpful, very good, very clear. So we're going to be back in a moment, I think, with Ryan Frank, who's up next. So stick around. We'll be back in a moment. Thank you, Tim. We are back. Welcome back, everybody. Look at that. A quick changeover, a quick turnover from one guest to the next. We'll see how we go. I'm about to be joined by Ryan Frank, who's the publisher of Kidzmatter magazine. He's a kids pastor himself, and he's the man that kind of, in my opinion, kind of does it all. He's an entrepreneur. He's got a heart for people. He's an American, so you know he's got the whole pack. He's got the whole package. Hey, come on, join us, Ryan. Put him up there in the corner there, Brooke. Hey, Ryan. Everyone say hi to Ryan. By the way, if you've got any questions and you're on Google, type them in the chat. If you're on Facebook, type them in there. We've got our team having a looking through them and see if there's anything that urgently needs to be asked. Welcome, Ryan. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, thank you for having me. Thanks for having me. How are the Wakerleys doing these days?
The Wakeleys are doing very good. Australia is still, it's a beautiful time of year, actually. So it's been very nice to be at home. It's been tough to be at home, but at least it's been pleasant, and it's been beautiful to get out in the sunshine every day, because it's easy to avoid that. So Ryan, it's you got to find the joy in the little things. So the question I have for you, Ryan, we've just come from Tim Whincop, who oversees all of Hillsong music around the world, and now we're moving into more of a pastoral side. We're gonna switch it up all over the place. The question I have for you today, and this is one we said, hey, have a think about this and talk about it with us. You work with a lot of pastors. You're in contact with a lot of different kind of people. So what are the three biggest challenges you see facing kids pastors right now?
Yeah, you know what? That's a great question. I think one is, as most of these kids pastors are quarantined and they are working remotely, they're not going to their office, they're at home, they've got 3 kids running around. A big challenge: how do I stay focused, and how do I actually get stuff done? How do I stay productive when I'm working from home? And I get it. I've got 3 little girls at home, and it's tough. I mean, because of the constant distractions. Mm-hmm. You had distractions before, but now when you're quarantined at home, it's distractions times 10. And so I think one of the best pieces of advice I could give, if you're struggling staying focused, staying productive while working from home, is that you have to start your day by setting some priorities for the day. You don't start your day with breakfast and then I'm going to jump over to Instagram or YouTube or Facebook, and now that all of a sudden it's noon and I've yet to set any priorities for the day. So the very first thing you should do, I've been coaching people, David, over the last few weeks, to just you're not going to get everything done, but make a 3x3 grid. So what are 3 things that I must do today? Now, you may not get them all done, but in your mind, like, these are the 3 big things I need to do, or the 3 people I really need to talk to, or 3 big things I can do to move some project forward. What are the 3 must-dos? What are the 3 should-dos? If I get these must-dos done, here are some things I really should do, and then have 3 could-dos. So if the stars align and I get all of these must-dos done, I get all of these should-dos done, then I've got some things that I really could do. Now, what you don't want to do, David, is you don't want to start with your could-dos, because a lot of times your could-dos are the funner things, the easier things, and your must-dos require a lot of brain energy or work. If you put off your must-dos, you're just going to procrastinate day after day after day after day. So you do the most difficult task first. Those 3 things, they could be tasks, or like I said, it could be some people I need to connect with or talk to, or some things I need to do to move some projects forward. But I think that's a big challenge we're all facing. How do I stay focused? How do I stay productive? You want me to jump into number 2?
Before you do that, 100%. That's a really good point. I find myself, the tricky thing for me is I thought maybe there'll be a bit more space in my life to do some songwriting. My wife and I, Becky, have written a lot of our Hillsong Kids songs, and we're like, hey, maybe we'll get some time. But yeah, the kids in the room, kids at the house is just, it's a disaster for productivity. So
it is.
So that is really good help. The start with the things you must do, should do, really, really greatly helpful. Give us a second thought.
Yeah. Okay, second challenge I think a lot of kids pastors are facing right now. How do I connect with all of the kids and all of the parents remotely, online, digitally? Well, first of all, you're never going to connect with them all. So get that out of your head. In a perfect world, I would connect with you don't connect with every kid and family when they're coming to church on the weekends. And in this kind of a environment where it's ministry from a distance, ministry digitally, you're not going to connect with them all. But here's what you can do. You can remove all friction to your best of your ability. Here's what I mean by removing friction. You create friction if you choose, I am only going to do Facebook Live to connect with kids and parents. Right. Why does that create friction? Because not everybody's on Facebook, right? Or if you choose, I am only going to do Zooms, and that's it. you're creating friction because not everybody is comfortable using Zoom or wants to learn how to use Zoom as easy as it is. If you choose, I'm only going to text message, I'm only going to do Facebook Lives, I'm only going to do YouTube, I'm only going to do email. Anytime you only choose to do one thing, you are creating instant friction for people and making it difficult. So what you want to do is you want to remove that friction. So yes, you want to do Facebook Lives, but you want to also do Zooms, and maybe use Zoom to broadcast to Facebook Live, or use Zoom like you guys are doing tonight to broadcast to YouTube.
Right.
Maybe you want to take that video and put it on Facebook, but also take that video and put it on YouTube, and also take that video and make it an Instagram story, and also take that video and put it on your Facebook page and your church website and on your blog. And maybe you want to text out a link. In any way that you can remove that friction, you're going to help connect with those kids and families. I think we get in trouble when we choose one channel, one night a week.
Love it.
You miss it, and you're out. Remove that friction.
Fantastic. The way I look at that is DJing your content. Like DJs and music culture is all about remixing, taking the same thing and remixing it into different forms for different audiences. If you're going to put effort into something, if you're going to put your heart and soul into a piece of an idea, a bit of content, a video, put that as far and wide as you possibly can do it. And so, that is a great idea. Max, like we could do this video right now for 10 people or 1 million people. It's the same amount of work.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah. So remove that friction. Yeah, you might prefer Facebook, but not everybody does. You might prefer YouTube. Not everybody does. So, choose.
Love it.
Try to hit. Yeah. All right. Here's the third challenge that I'm hearing, especially in these recent days. David, is this: how do I plan for summer? Now, this summer here in the United States, I don't know what's coming up for y'all over there. I get confused. Are you preparing for winter?
Yeah, 100%.
Are you in summer?
We're going into winter now.
Yeah. Okay.
It's fall.
So for us here in the United States, we're looking at, okay, how do we plan? Do we do vacation Bible school? Do we do camp? The things that we would normally do in the next 2-3 months, what do we do? Now, if I knew the answer to that question, I would be a very wealthy person. I don't have a crystal ball. You don't have a crystal ball. We don't know how all this is going to play out. I would say this, that even if there is a comeback relatively soon, everything's opened up and you're able to do your normal programming in the next month or two. I don't think that's going to happen, but let's say it does happen. Not everyone will come back. You're going to have people, kids that can't wait to get back, parents that can't wait to get their kids back, parents that can't wait to get back. But then you're going to have a good number of people who are going to stay home for a while. They're still a little scared. They're going to play it safe. And so what I would do is I would plan for both a comeback and I would plan for a continued quarantine, or whatever you want to call it. Because even if they can come back, they all won't come back. So for example, someone in our I Love Kidmin Facebook group within the last several days said that what they are doing to prepare for Vacation Bible School is they are planning to do a Vacation Bible School, but they're also planning boxes where inside the box are 5 baggies, 5 little Ziploc bags with daily activities for VBS from home. So instead of picking either or, they are doing both and.
Love it. Which
probably isn't a bad idea anyway, because even if they can come back, they all won't right away. So go ahead and plan on doing both.
Love it.
Maybe you are planning a winter camp, or here in the United States, a summer camp. Go ahead and keep planning it, but plan a virtual camp as well, because there will be kids that mom and dad aren't going to let them come. So plan on that physical face-to-face camp and a virtual camp. It's not either or as you think about the next couple months. This is what I would encourage you with. It's not either or, it is both and. And yes, that's going to take a little bit more work and it's going to take a little bit more thought. But at the end of the day, I think you're going to be more effective and reach more kids.
Perfect. We packed a lot into that little. There's a lot in there to talk about. That's fantastic, Ryan. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been fantastic. If we want to connect with you, you mentioned the I Love Kidmin Facebook group. hey, if you're in kids ministry, get onto that Facebook group. Ryan's on there a lot. I know he's the first one to comment anytime I post anything. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for joining us, and really appreciate you.
Well, thank you. And you know what? I don't know if you have if Hillsong Kids has any bigger fans here in the United States than Kidzmatter. We love what you guys are doing. Keep up the great work. You're making a huge difference.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. We're going to be back with Dan and Yancy in a moment.
I get to sit back here to talk to you guys, but we're talking to Yancy. This is the most exciting thing. Yancy, obviously from Yancy Ministries, one of Kidmin's best singer-songwriters, one of my kids' favorite, and daughter of Jim and Julie Weidman, who unofficially adopted me. So she is my sister. Please, it's Yancy. Hi, Yancy.
Hello. My dad actually just texted and he said to tell you hello. So he sends his greetings.
Hi, Dad. Hi, Mom.
The adoption is not legal, but it's real in our hearts.
Oh, fantastic. So Yancy, so excited that you're jumping on. One thing I've been loving is following you on Instagram because you've been doing a lot of great things with getting into the homes and helping investing into parents to making sure this season's not a wasted season. So our question for you really is how do we empower the parents during this time to really do this season well with their kids?
Yeah. I will speak first off just wearing my parent hat because I have a couple little boys myself. And so I'm walking through this as a parent as well. And I know for us, there still is so much that we're doing. We already homeschooled, so we're still completing our schooling. And, my boys are taking their karate class, virtually online. And so a lot of things are still happening throughout our day. And so I think instead of just churches, trying to fill up a schedule and send a gazillion craft ideas and, sending daily things to parents to do with their kids. I don't think in most cases we need something else to keep us busy, but I know what I'm going to jump and decide to do and make time for as a family is the stuff that's going to create a memory. And so I think just thinking through that as a children's ministry is not just like, what's the busy work that we can send home and we can email over, but like, how can I help some parents create memories with their kids that happen to be centered around the Bible, that happen to be centered around a Bible story, that happen to be centered around truth. And so obviously for me, one of the ways I love to do that and love to communicate is music. That's because I can think of specific songs that trigger memories of growing up and driving around in my mom's minivan as we would run errands around town. Like those songs trigger that stuff. I think music can trigger relationships that your kids have, even with some of your small group leaders and your volunteers. As you continue to use some of these songs, what they're going to remember back is, hey, there's somebody at such and such church that believes in me and actually knows something about me and asks me questions about my life. And so music is such an amazing tool to help us learn and just as well trigger awesome, happy memories. And so one of the things I've been doing is I created a playlist full of songs that are all about hope and faith and trusting in God. It's something that you can put on in the background as a family, as you're, just doing the various things of your day, or having a meal or cooking in the kitchen or whatever. It's not so much that you have to preach to your kids and give them a 10-point sermon, but you can be conscious of what you're playing and putting on the inside of them. And so you can definitely check out that playlist, and also doing some family concerts online. So that's something else that I'm doing, just to partner with some churches, and, right there in their own living room, you can have a special event, have a praise, party, have a worship night as a family, and just choose, even in the context of your living room or your car or wherever it may be, to lift up a shout of praise. So
that's fantastic. So you mentioned some of the stuff that you've been doing. If someone would want to use that in their kids ministry on the weekend, what's the best way to be able to do that? Like if they want to put it in their live stream or their on-demand videos.
Right. Yeah. So, right now, just with everything going, and, we all turned on a dime to figure out how do we move forward when this came about. So we have a policy right now. It's in place through May 17th, and we're just gonna walk things out the next few weeks and see if that shifts or changed. But right now we've given you permission to use my songs, to use my videos in whatever content you're creating for your children's ministry, whether that be that you're live streaming a service, whether you're pre-recording a program and putting that on Facebook or YouTube or whatever. You can use any of my music. There's a few little instructions of how to do that best, and you can hop on yancyministries.com, and one of the first couple of news posts is all about that. Or I have it pinned on my Facebook page. If you go to my Yancy Facebook page, it's pinned what those coronavirus guidelines are. But definitely want to partner with churches for you to still be able to worship and still be able to use these resources, because that's what they are. It's a tool that you have in ministry to use music to communicate to your kids and help them take steps to communicate to the Lord through the songs that they sing.
Oh, that's awesome. Nothing but good news here on today's live stream. That's so exciting. No, we'll quickly got one last question, and then we're going to go to Beth Cunningham, which I'm really excited to hear from. So just quickly, in a few seconds, tell us the question we're asking everyone is, what do you think the positive changes are going to happen in light of this season? When we go back, what's our new normal going to be? What's one thing you're actually looking forward to?
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, I think when we get together and worship together, it's going to have such a special meaning that so many of us have taken for granted. But I think, what I see as one of the wins is, for so long, I know here in America, but I know it goes farther than that. Past decade or more, we've been talking about family ministry and the importance of empowering parents to take more of a responsibility. And so I think one thing that this has done is put on a silver platter the opportunity for parents to be the one that are having these spiritual conversations. I know our church, they're sending over the curriculum each week, and there's talking points and there's things for me to share. And, it's kind of written out for me and I can read it right off that. But it's helping me to be the one to model for me how to ask some of those questions as well as a parent. And I think the other thing too is it's been really cool as a parent to see some of what your kids are experiencing week in and week out in children's ministry.
Yeah.
And so I think that's another win, is just that parents are getting to really see and comprehend what you guys are doing and all the hard work you put in all the time. And we'll just keep at it some more. I think there'll be a whole lot more of in person and virtual, just like Ryan was talking about a few minutes ago.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, we're getting a lot of comments from parents going, wow, your curriculum's really good. And you're like, yeah, we know.
Yeah. Thanks for noticing.
Thanks for
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, hey, thank you for joining us. Love to Mum and Dad. And you stick around because
Thanks
Dave's going to
for
be back
having
with Beth Cunningham. See you, Yancy.
Okay, we're about to be joined by Beth Cunningham, but before we do that, there's a bunch of comments that have come through, a lot of shout-outs. Chandler, hey, Annalise, Landon, Jobin, Ruthie, Suzanne, Berenice, Gonzalez. I've said that terribly, I apologize. Joanna, Oscar, Rachel, HSK crew, that's our whole team is here apparently. Steph, Ruthie, Lou, thank you guys for joining us. Now this is on Facebook and on YouTube, so comment your questions. What is your best way to get your team motivated to participate in contributing to online services? Okay, we have specific jobs for every one of our team to do. Now, a lot of people are really, this is very different than what they signed up for, doing online streaming. So you may not get your whole team involved because it's such a hard left turn, but you might find people really step up into doing something that they've never done before, but give them a very specific job to do. Don't just say, join in on the stream and chat with people. No. Give them a very specific job. And if you don't expect them to buy into the vision of it, because that's what they've been doing for 20 years if they've been leading kids. I've got, it says here, thanks for doing this. How do you promote live Zoom or Google Hangouts? That's a tricky one. You know what? I'm going to save that for Beth, who's coming up next. She's going to talk to us about doing small groups with kids. So we're going to find out some things that they've been doing. Yep, there was a bunch of, look, there's a lot more coming, but I want to get to our next guest. So Beth Cunningham is from Church of the Highlands in America, good friends of our church. So thank you for joining us, Beth.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be with you guys on this beautiful Alabama evening. It's Thursday here. Right. What day is this? Wednesday? I don't even know. I'm having that quarantine life. I don't even know what day it is. What day is it in Australia right now?
Well, this is start of 9 o'clock on a Thursday morning. So
okay, so we're Wednesday night.
Yeah, we're in the future. So the future's good, guys.
Yeah, you are.
The apocalypse hasn't happened yet. Now, let me just see here. That's right. I have a text message with all the questions in it. There's a lot of information going on around here, flying around, and I want to make sure we ask you the right questions. So, one of the things you guys have done really well, and one of the big focuses of your church is small groups. So, we're going to launch straight into that. Then there's enough time to chat and catch up after that. But let's go straight with the question. How are you continuing small groups and discipleship experiences during the season?
Absolutely. I think, for us, our whole church runs around small groups. So, typically our groups just quickly transitioned into predominantly Zoom formats, and we've made tutorials. We've had all kind of things, teaching leaders how to utilize Zoom. But that part of the church really transitioned quickly, and we're seeing a lot of great results from that weekly connectivity. On the kids side, some of our parent-children type groups are still functioning in the Zoom world. With kids, we are having some staff. They have to be staff-led, like Zoom, Google Hangout type things if kids are going to be involved. And we're seeing great results with that as well. I think the key for us, the question we have to ask ourselves is, do our people feel connected? And really, because at the end of the day, a small group is about being known, being connected. And so, Zoom is a popular tool for us for sure. But I'll be honest, Dave, there have been things we've been utilizing with kids that have been super effective. Even something as simple as making sure every child in our church is receiving a postcard in the mail from their leaders at their campus. We have seen so many responses on Facebook and Instagram for parents blown away, posting about this simple postcard. So it's really the small group the concept of group is way more than a Zoom call. The concept of group is connectivity. And if that's a postcard or a phone call or, a video chat, calling a mom that's a friend of yours that, their children are connected to you. It's really, how can we make sure our people feel connected and prayed for has been our primary goal in group life throughout this entire last 6 weeks. And we're not stopping, by the way. For us, we run groups in semesters. We kind of take a break leading to summer. There is no stopping. Groups are going. We're on. Another thing that's been successful is this is a prime opportunity in your church to actually launch new groups. Because right now you have people checking you out online, or perhaps people who've not been plugged in. They've been on the fringes of attending. And this moment, they're craving connectivity.
Right.
They're craving, perhaps, a deeper relationship with God because of where this moment has brought us as people. And so this is an opportunity we don't want to miss as the Big C Church. We want to have opportunities for people to join new and join now. And we're seeing a lot of results with creating those moments as well.
Amazing. Well, that's it. I always find when there's a shift in, I guess, focus, the people who were on the fringe may become key, and the people who potentially were key may end up on the fringes. There's a big kind of swirling around. But I think that's a really good point. That's a really good point about it. The goal is not making a successful Zoom call. The goal is connection. Right. That's really the goal. Have you found a solutions then? Maybe is there a way you can describe the solutions for safety and security of those calls that you guys have had success?
Yes. So for us, I'll be honest, we are not totally saying let's have, lots of our children in Zoom calls every week. We're not doing that. We have given our campuses, because we are a multi-site church, we've given our campuses the permission to do Zoom calls, but they are posting them in their campus Facebook groups. They have to be staff-led. So we're requiring a staff member to be in the group. They have to have at least 2 adults, and parents are choosing to opt into those groups. And that's the protocols we've set up for our campuses. And I know that those, email and different things look different in every nation as far as even government regulations. Here, we don't have a ton of that in America, but we're requiring staff members be present, and we're requiring that parents just are given the information and they can choose to opt in with their child. And so that has been very successful. Can I share another discipleship thing that I think is really important that we have found great success in this moment? Yeah, so I think another thing that has been really key for us, even beyond just the realm of connectivity, making sure our people feel known in this moment, whether it's phone calls, postcards, reaching out, is really the idea of teaching children that they're not victims in this process. Right. And one of the main ways we remember that we're not a victim is when we feel empowered to serve and make a difference. So a key focus for us has been, how can we create opportunities for our families to give back? How can we create moments for a 7-year-old to feel like they served and they were a part of the solution, which is going to lessen that feeling of, I've lost so much, I didn't get to finish school, I missed my friends. But there's something that happens inside of us when we feel like we get to make a difference, and God wired us that way. So what we have been doing as a team is really creating serve opportunities for kids. Some of those have been in the global, and some of those have just been at the campus level. But I tell you this, when you say to parents, let's all take pictures and do videos and have our kids draw art and do hashtag healthcare heroes, we had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of our families. And all of a sudden that child was no longer a victim in this situation. That child became part of the solution, and the ability to show honor and the ability to realize that God's calling us to be light in this moment, I think is a very important discipleship tool for children and for parents right now. And we are looking for those creative ideas all the time.
Right. Well, that's it. It's looking outside of yourselves. As the Christian life says, as Jesus has always said, you're always looking to help. The more you internalize, the more kids internalize everything and think about their own issues, the worse it becomes for them and their mental health. Wonderful. Thank you, Beth. Our final question for everybody is, of course, what do you think the positive change, when we get back from this whole situation, what is one of the positive changes you can see happening?
Well, I think one, there's so many, but I think one of the positive changes is, as children's pastors, we've been praying and saying, how many roundtables or discussions have we been in saying, oh man, if we could just figure out how to reach parents, if we could just figure out how to engage mom and dad. And the interesting thing about this moment is all of a sudden parents are looking to us to engage them on a daily way, to speak into their space in a way that I don't think would have ever happened with this magnitude that's happening right now. So my prayer is, as we get back into buildings, whenever that happens, we're going to have families who, because we've been able to bring what we do into their living room, they never saw it before. And now they're experiencing with their kids. And so the potential for long-term discipleship of the whole family and parents being more spiritually engaged with their children is incredible. It's a dream come true. So, for me, I think my scripture going into this year was Ephesians 5:15-16, be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity because the days are evil. And so my encouragement to you, kids pastor, is what an opportunity. Like, this is an opportunity that God has given us. And I can't wait to see, as we do gather back in buildings, the engagement, especially from our families, I believe is going to be just kingdom impact.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Beth. If anybody wants to connect with what you're doing, what's the best way to do that?
Absolutely. Follow us on social media. That is the primary mechanism that we're using to reach our families. So you can kind of go on the journey. That's at Highlands Kids. And also, if you're looking for free curriculum resources for your ministry, growleader.com is our open resource for our church, growleader.com. And we have a lot of downloads available for you, hopefully to help you in your journey.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Beth, for joining us. We're going to be back in a moment with Craig Johnson and maybe some questions. So stay tuned, everybody.
Welcome back. Did you miss me? I missed you. We're having so much fun. Thank you for joining us. We're not finished though. There's a lot more to come. We want to let you know ways you can connect with us. This is our Hillsong Kids Leadership channel, so you can subscribe to this. We do a podcast where we're all together. We're not together anymore. We're separated via screens. And we're doing answering your questions on kids ministry. We did a recent one on what we're doing during this time, specifically on how we're live streaming 11 services a weekend to our kids, which is really exciting. We've also got our Hillsong Kids YouTube channel, which is almost at 100,000 subscribers. Could you get it over the line? That is the question. All things music, all things Funny Man Dan's on there. There's a lot of really fun stuff. We've got a exciting new video launching. I'm not going to let you know what it is, but it may involve a certain singer with 2 initials for a first name. And then we've also got the Funny Man Dan channel, which you can subscribe to, and for a bit of gaming, bit of fun. And then we've got HSK Crew, which does live streams, and they get to game with your kids. There's a lot of great stuff out there. Now, we've got some questions before I go to my next guest, which I'm really excited about. Oscar says, during COVID-19, how do we make Big available to families without showcasing it on our live stream? Great question. You just need to jump back to the start of this stream after this is finished and see what Tim said, Tim Whincop said about how we're relaxing our licensing. Also, let you know we do have a streaming service for Hillsong, for the Hillsong Big, so you can actually get all of that access. And as a church, there's ways to get that to your families as well through a subscription, and it'll be all on there like Netflix, except with me. Now, my next guest is a great personal friend of mine. I've actually went on tour with him once. His favorite line was, he said, "Funny Man Dan will make him laugh and I'll make him cry," because this guy just is the best. Just the best. Founder of the Champions Club, which is in 6 billion countries and reaching 7 million people every 3 seconds. I love him. You love him. All the live from Lakewood, or from home, actually. Craig Johnson. Hi, Craig. You are... I can't...
My wife's making me wear this.
I can't affect you through the... Hang on, I actually got one yesterday, but I got a bit of a...
You don't put it on your head yet. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
You like this? I got Thor in mine. Just a little fashion accessory.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I got the regular doctor, mask. My wife makes me wear it around the house. I'm not sure why, but...
Yeah, it's not a good sign when
new fashion statement.
When your wife's making you socially distance from herself.
It bugs me. Anyway,
Craig, thanks.
How are you?
So good. Thanks so much for joining us. The tough thing about this live stream is I'm seeing all my favorite people, but we don't really have time to catch up, so we're going to get straight into the questions. Obviously, families are doing it tough right now, but it'd be great to chat about some of the unique challenges our special needs families are dealing with, and also how some ways we can connect with them and support them during this time.
Yeah, well, a couple things that special needs families are really dealing with. Of course, school, there's no school now, so they're having to take care of their kids. You take a typical kid, what a challenge that would be to have a schedule, do all those things, take it another notch higher, because they're going to deal with behaviors. And when special needs kids get out of their schedule, it really, really kind of messes up their world a little bit. So it's been real challenging for special needs families just to walk through this, because they so depend upon school, not only to help them with their kids, help them develop them, but it's also a respite time for the parents, because they walk through things all the time. Yeah.
So what are some of the ways that us in our kids ministries can reach out to these families and help resource them during this season?
Well, there's a couple things that we've done, in just responding to COVID and what these families are walking through. And it's kind of a God thing. We actually started last August, and we launched it last August, but it's a private Facebook page for parents with special needs children or caregivers. And so on this Facebook page, you can get daily encouragement. Every day, get devotionals, declarations you can speak over your kids. There are segments on there where you have a Christian counselor that does a compassion and care dealing with mental health for these families. There's a small group Bible stays for parents on here. There's financial segment, a marriage segment, even a health and fitness segment. So because their kids are kind of stuck in the house and stuff like that, and we give them exercises and different things that they can do because they're basically having to redo their complete schedules with these children. So we launched it last August, and just over the past month since we've been in this, it's grown over 400 subscribers, and so it's just growing. It's absolutely free for parents. So that's one way that God just must have knew something like this was going to happen, because this is really something that the parents can get on there and get help. Plus, on this too, we give activities for parents to do with the kids at home. And so all kinds of activities, curriculum, and different things like that.
That's amazing. We're getting a lot of questions just in general about how do I make this? How do I create this? And the answer is, why? There's some great resources out there to really impact families. So that's fantastic. So we'll put you'll get us a link to that. It's a Facebook group. You go on there, you apply. Is that right?
Yeah, no, it's hopeformyfamily.com.
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 Love
really
it.
easy. You go on there and you just sign up. It's absolutely free, and we made it free for these parents to help them during this time. And so it's a huge resource for parents right now with what they're walking through. And it'll give them all types of tools, resources, help, from mental health to how to work with their kids during this time, creating schedules, across the board, even how to teach your kids with special needs how to deal with the virus, in the sense of how do they respond to it, how do they work through it.
Right. Now, it'd be great just to mention about some of the stuff your church is doing, because shout out to Laurie and Amy, who are doing an amazing job in the kids ministry and posting videos all the time, I think, which is awesome. You happen to get in guests like Kanye to do to do a service, as you do. But yeah, I even saw an amazing post from your church on, hey, here's some financial wisdom. Don't take our payday loans. Don't do this. Try and do this. All this sort of stuff, which I think it's a great voice. Do you want to talk a little bit about some stuff you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we've, and I'm sure you guys are experiencing this, and other churches are experiencing. And actually what happens, God just does it totally differently. And so we're reaching more people now than we've ever reached before online. Wow. And it's just a different way. So we've had to adjust to that because online now, of course, they need help visually, and they're not able to be there on campus. So now we're doing the full Champions Club curriculum online.
Wow.
And so we've got, we're working with different organizations that are helping us with video Bible stories, music that tie into our curriculum. And then we do a full program for about 19 to 20 minutes. And we've had a tremendous response from that so far. And so it looks like, we're going to do all 26 lessons when we get through with it online. And what's great is those will be all video lessons that we'll be able to continue to give. So every weekend, families with special needs, or your typical kids, because, honestly, they're for both. It could be for both, but families with special needs will kind of catch the little nuances that we throw in there for special needs kids. So we've done that. We've also, I think, another thing that we've done is we've tried to create, and I want to encourage churches that have kids or special needs, something that's really shifted for the kids is relationship. And so now they don't have that connectivity they had before. So we've created Zoom calls where the teachers get on with the kids and the parents, and they're able to talk to each other and connect with each other on a weekly basis.
That's awesome.
And so that's just another thing. And like Connor, he was so excited to see his friends because, like I said, what's happened for them is it gets them out of the routine. Coming to church and coming to Champions Club is a part of their routine. And it's amazing, Dan, what we've had happen are so many kids have struggled with it that they ask their parents to drive them all the way to the church just so they can be there, even though they can't go in. And they'll stand outside the church just because they miss it so much. And so we're going to, yeah, don't cry.
Yeah. Getting those tears coming up.
But I know. But it brings them peace. It calms them just to be outside there, just to be a part. And so we're trying to adjust how we're doing things. Other resources that we have we have a home curriculum, 31-day devotional called Champions Home Curriculum. And that's huge for parents. And we're actually doing stories online on this family membership where we do the curriculum with the parent online.
Wow.
And we're going through the stories with Dr. Sandy. So we're trying to adjust it in so many different ways just to give resources to these parents as they're walking through it.
That's amazing. I've just been told that if you go to kids.hillsongstore.com and sign up for a free newsletter, we are going to send you password protected links that they can share with their families with full lessons how they can run through the comfort of their own home. And we'll also have all the links to everything Craig's talking about, Yancy stuff, everything on there. We're going to put it all in one thing. So make sure you sign up for the newsletter. Craig, we're just going to finish with a message of hope because, well, that's what you're all about, which is exciting. So we want to let's think in the future, 6 months down the track when we're starting to come out of our shelters. What do you think one positive thing that you feel like a positive change is going to be for the good?
Yeah, I think God allows things to happen to shift us as much as what we're walking through, but to change us. And I think right now what's happening is people are realizing what they have, not what they don't have.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. They realize one of the biggest things that you can do right now is be thankful and just thank God for what you have right now. And I think that's huge as you go into this because things have changed and maybe all the families at home, but what a time. How many times have you complained that you didn't have enough family time, that you're going to all different types of things? And so build that time with your family right now. God's doing some unique things to bring families together, to build that relationship. You have to work a little harder, right? You got to do those game nights. You got to work with them on the homework, but realize that there's a bond there that God's taking place. So when we come out of this, I believe families are going to be stronger than ever before. And I believe not only are we going to be excited about going back to church, I mean, people are going to be running back to church, right? But through that, we've grown through this process. We went to another level, and I'm thankful for the time I've had with my family and the things that we've had, even though it's stretched us and we've had to work harder during this time to come together. It got us out of our routines and it put us in a mode of having to just connect with each other, love on each other, encourage each other, and build each other up. And I think that's going to carry through when we go back to the church. And you're going to see family units actually stronger than ever before.
Well, you're very close to making me cry. I just need to, put that one up. Thank you.
I need you to make me laugh right now, Dan.
Well, I will tell you something funny. You were going to be the penultimate guest right at the end, and it was going to be the big crescendo. Craig Johnson, but Andy Kirk said, "Swap me places. I want to go last." Andy Kirk, and he's sitting in the waiting room.
Selfish,
he's so selfish.
I know it. What's up with him?
Well, stick around. Andy Kirk, the ACCKids national leader, is going to be chatting about how people are doing this season, from the biggest churches to the smallest churches. Stick around. Thank you so much, Craig. We love you, and thank you for all that you're doing for kids all around the world.
Hey, thanks for having me. So good to be with you guys. Love you.
No, mate.
Okay. Hey, welcome back. Look at this. We are really piling through the guests today. And let's be honest, Craig, who just was on with Dan, he could have spoken for another hour. We would have all loved it. But hey, we need to get through some people here. Coming up in a moment is Andy Kirk, who is the ACCKids director across Australia, all ACC churches in Australia. He really wants to help them and resource them and lead them and guide them. And he's been a friend of ours, Hillsong Kids, for 20 years at least. So in a moment, we're going to be joined by him. I've got some questions here. We do have some shout outs and some questions. We love a shout out. We've got Rachel. Rachel is awesome. Rachel Chia. Hey, Rachel. Marby as well. Love it. Our team is online. Fantastic. And learning just like we're learning. So I wanted to back up what Dan was just saying in the last comment was about Big Plus is our streaming service, just like Netflix is for movies and Disney Plus is for movies. Big Plus is for kids ministry streaming. And at the moment, if you're streaming that and you're using our curriculum, we have a way for you to get that into homes. You can send links to your parents and they can check out the content and you can connect with them. So check that out. This whole stream is like sponsored by them, even though it's us, but it's a great way, we think, to help your parents and help your families and help connect with them. So, Andy Kirk, let's do it. Come up on right here and say hi. There it is. There he is, pointing at him right there.
I'm here.
Welcome, Andy. Thanks for joining us, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Really, really good. Now, we're going to get straight into it because that's what we do around here. We're going to start off. We're going to start off with the question for you: is what are the different ways that you have seen churches doing weekend services at this time in history?
Yeah, great question. I think that a number of weeks ago there was churches were going into, hey, it may be limited to 500, and for many of the ACC churches that are at a size where they're like, hey, we can still meet. We're like, hey, we're good. We can meet. But then very quickly it went to, no, we can't do that. And then so that next pivot to try and have people ready to be doing online services, that was a challenge because there was a number of churches around the nation that still relied so much on that, I guess that, and we all do, but that personal or that live interaction or teaching, the live teaching, even the live music. And so we had a number of churches saying, hey, what can we do and how do we do this? And so what we've seen is that a lot of churches are needing to take a jump into some of the streaming or on-demand style curriculum, but they didn't know how. So I've seen a few things in my observations. I've seen some people go, right, let's just get an iPhone and do something. And look, that is great. But on the flip side, I think that the number one thing that what we can do right now is we can still care for our church. And I think although it's important to what we've got on a Sunday, what I think I've helped really reframe with some of this is don't just be going out and buying camera equipment to do content. There's content available and really, Hillsong curriculum and there's a number of other free resources out there with people who have got content out there just so incredible. I think you've, Yancy as well has got her music. I know a number of other churches have made that available. What they can do is they can actually pastor their children. They can go out and they can call every child. You can still pick up the phone and call every child. One thing is those, even the packs, you look at the coloring in packs or the resources. I've seen churches and I've encouraged them, if even people who don't have printers at home, print it off for your entire kids and post that out the next month's worth. So there's ways in order to get resources out. I've now got kids pastors and leaders on Sunday in our own church. We've got our kids pastors and leaders that on a work day, which is Sunday, rather than sitting down and watching the stream, also in their pajamas, what they're doing is they're going out and in states that they're able to do this, they can go and do visits. And so they're actually going out and doing family visits right now. A couple of leaders dropping around packs, and it may incorporate the coloring in or the weekend packs. I know at Easter it was a great opportunity just to drop an Easter pack around to a number of the families. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that that the curriculum or the content, it doesn't have to be the most important thing that we're doing. We can still pastor and love families in multiple other ways. And so now we can start to explore through technology our online connect groups for children. ACC recently put out online child protection policies so that can help shape people to have these connect groups. So I think that's probably got to be, for me, you guys are the geniuses in creating content. I'm leaving that with you. My role is to help shape churches to be thinking through, okay, how can we continue to be pastoring our kids? So I don't know if that answered the question, but that's sort of where I'm going with there.
That's great. It's the focus. That's what the focus is. This is probably a good point. We haven't really talked about what we're doing as a church, but this is probably a good point to just quickly mention that what we're doing. If you'd like to figure out everything that Hillsong Kids is doing, we just, on this channel that you're watching this on, if you're watching this on YouTube, Hillsong Kids Leadership Plus, we just recorded a podcast episode with video and audio. It's coming below me. Below me in this video, there's a little scroll, and one of them says the Vault Podcast. Just Google the Vault Podcast Hillsong Kids. You'll find it on YouTube. You'll find it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. The latest episode talks about what we're doing. And I think what you're saying, Andy, is some of the key things is the goal is not to have the flashiest live stream. The goal is to connect and help pastor kids. And that's what we've got to keep in mind. So what we've done is we do 11 we basically said to our church, anytime there's an adult church live stream, we're going to provide something for the kids. Now, we've done that because that's what we've said for the last 20 years in our church. Anytime church is on, Hillsong Kids is happening. There's never a season in our church where we don't provide church for kids, because church is church. Church is church for adults. Church is church for kids. So we made that commitment because of our own culture. Every time church is on for adults, we're going to do it for kids. And it's not the flashiest thing on earth. We are live with kids. Everything is live. Like today, there's technical things that always go wrong. But the point of these live streams is connection. Because if you can actually say hi to a kid live, they love it. Even I say hi to my own kids, they love it. Now, they get to see me all day, every day, especially at the moment. But they love that connection. So I feel like you've kind of answered the second half of this question about no technology.
Yeah.
But that's great. And that visitation, talk me through that, because there's probably some different ways around the world that people have to do that. In some countries, it may be illegal to go out and visit.
Yes.
Places like, I don't know, Italy may be experiencing that right now.
South Africa. We've got a campus. Yeah, we've got a campus in South Africa. So we're unable to get out and do that. They've just, in South Africa, in specific, they're allowing to have permits to go out and do visitation for whether it be to take packs to help, food or those sorts of things. So we're utilizing that as well to be visiting families through that. But you're right, there are some limitations.
Yeah.
In order to do that, and that's why I said where we can do the visitations, we'll go and we'll take something. We take a couple of a team. Over Easter, we had one of our, you've got Max and Melody. We've got some, we've got different mascots or whatever it would be. Taking them out and visiting the kids. We've got one recently. You've still got the social distancing, and you have to be careful with what you're doing. You're not sort of going and trying to set up an event. It's actually going and visiting and connecting with the kids, but with the purpose. So it's always taking out our content, but while we're there's a purpose around it, having a conversation. Hey, do you know how to access our weekend content?
Right.
And that's one question. And when they're visiting, or when they're phoning, even when they're doing all the phone calls, we're finding out, hey, there's still families who don't know how to access it. We think at our end, we're putting it out on social media, or we've sent the email, but the parents have received 37 emails from their school, their sports club, their who knows what. And so there still are some. So I think there's nothing better than a personal conversation with, hey, how can we serve you to get you connected with the content for the weekend? One. Number two, we've got some other resources within our own personal. So I guess I'm swinging between, ACCKids and then my role at our local church. But we're out working so much in our local church at the moment. We've got a families podcast, so we're creating resources for families on how to have the conversation with kids, how to work at home in this season. So just those little bits of content or resources for families. Again, when we're doing a visitation, we're saying, hey, are you aware of the podcast? There's a great episode out now. We had one with Dr. Robbie Sunderegger. I know that Hillsong has Dr. Robbie as well come and speak. We had him recently on our podcast. And so it was just those sorts of things that it's not just to rock up to go, oh, hi, we've done something. There is purpose of pastoring them through to either take a need or to, whether it might be to just follow up to make sure they're getting the content that we are creating. So I think that's what's important.
Okay. Thank you so much, Andy. We're asking everybody as the final question, what do you think the positive change the future holds in light of this season for the church?
100%. I think for the church, one of the greatest things that I'm excited as a kids pastor and partnering with churches in kids ministry around Australia, around the world, is the thing that I see is that beyond this, there's going to be parents and there's going to be families that have a more intentional habit of faith formation in the home. I think that's what will come out of this. I think that sometimes we have, as parents, even as a parent, we have outsourced this to the church on a Sunday. Oh, look, I take and the Barna research says that most parents know it's their primary responsibility to develop the faith formation in the home. But what we don't do is we don't know how often. So I think our greatest job in this season as churches is to teach parents and to encourage them and to resource them with the how to build faith strategies and different pathways in the home. 6 months, 12 months from now, if there's going to be children who are reading the Bible with their parents more, who are doing devotions more, who are praying more because of the disciplines or the different things they implemented in this time because of the season we're in, then I'm excited for that.
Right,
I'm excited that post-COVID, parents are going to be way more intentional in developing faith in the home. So that's what I think.
Love it.
I'm excited by it.
No, I agree with you 100%. So thank you, Andy. If you'd like to connect with Andy, ACCKids.org.au. Andy, anywhere else, and if you're especially in Australia, Andy would love to chat to you, no matter, especially if you're an ACC church, especially. Anywhere else you can connect with you, Andy?
Yeah, look, they can, obviously the Instagram is one that they can go to, the ACCKids Instagram as well. And then from there, any of the things that I've spoken about today, podcasts or different things and resources that we put out as ACCKids, the links are on our Instagram. So
yes, a podcast. You do have a podcast. Yeah, Beth Cunningham's on the podcast. Definitely check that out. What's it called?
That's great. It is called the ACCKids.
Oh. Yeah,
leadership podcast.
Great name.
Which is,
by the way, we can
I try to keep things pretty simple, really.
It's good to hear the crows in the background. It sounds like the wildlife is gathering. You can hear them quietly just.
Yes, I know.
Is it a crow?
I have a full. I don't know. I have a look. Here's for our listeners at home. Look at this outside.
Oh,
it's just
beautiful.
Trees galore.
Well, the wildlife is returning to nature. Thank you, Andy. We're back with one last surprise guest, so stay tuned and check out Andy's podcast especially. You'll really, really be blessed by it. See you soon, everybody. almost done, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this live stream. It'll be up for playback on our Hillsong Kids leadership page. Make sure you subscribe to the page so you don't miss out what's coming up. It's a brand new page for us. On there is also the podcast. Another one of our hosts on the podcast is Jess McLean, Hillsong Kids pastor of the globe, let's just say the universe. So, Jess, thank you for joining us. Put her up there right now, Brooke. There she is. Oh, no. There we are. I got to be on the... There we go. I'm looking good. Jess, you're looking good. Hi. And I've got a special guest, by the way. Look, I've got a special guest.
Oh, Terry. I'm so glad to see you, Terry.
If you don't know Terry...
It's been a long time.
It has. Terry the Triceratops is our mascot for the podcast, which you can check out. Jess, you're calling all the way from your lounge room, being isolated. I love it.
Yep, I am in Wollongong, and I just thought I'd pop in because I wanted to bring encouragement to many of you who are kids leaders or pastors across the globe. This is pretty cool, this global experience. But I guess, I've been chatting to kids pastors, and I thought I wanted to remind us all that we're pioneering in this season, that this is a new world that we're ministering in, and we didn't have much lead time on this. Dave, did you feel like we had much warning about COVID? I don't feel like we had much warning.
Every day was a surprise.
Yeah, every day, surprise. But I think that we're pioneering something here with no lead time. So I just wanted to encourage you, if that has felt like a bit of a struggle for you, if you felt like you're drowning a little bit, you're not alone. I'm sure that many of us have felt that way. And I want to encourage you that everything that you're doing in this season makes a difference to your kids and families. And that even if you're not receiving a great amount of feedback, it probably took us weeks to kind of absorb the feedback or get any feedback from leadership, because everyone is doing their best to understand this new world. But I would say dig deep into God and be encouraged that you would be making a difference to your families in just being you. And so don't forget to be your kids ministry culture and bring that into this new season. And the other thing that I had the revelation of is that, this new season needs a different team structure and it needs a different team approach. So the same people that might be great at pastoring kids from platform might not be amazing at this technical world,
yes.
Or the great pastoral care leader might not be the one who's going to help you to have that creative moment of genius. And so who is it on your team that you can bring through in this season, and who can spearhead the different areas of what ministry looks like at the moment, and get them carrying it with you, because you don't want to do this season alone. And as always, we are here for you at the Vault and at our Hillsong Kids leadership channel. We want to cheer you on. And I guess that's all I wanted to say is
Amazing.
That even if your senior pastor is trying to get their head around this new world and you're not hearing much feedback at the moment, I would just say get your feedback and encouragement from God, and just remember that what you're doing right now is making a difference.
Perfect. Amazing.
And we love you, and we're cheering you on.
We are indeed. There hasn't been a heap of... I was seeing if there was any final questions. I feel like we've answered a lot of the questions. Somebody, though, was asking about... my book, If Only You Knew. So they just want to know a quick overview. Here's the thing. This is a good point. And this is a point maybe, Jess, that we can finish on. Eventually, we're going to have to start ramping up together again. And it's going to be a big transition for all of us. And you're going to have strategies. So those leaders who haven't served in any capacity with your kids for who knows how long, months, maybe up to a year. We don't know, depending on what country you live in. And I would suggest this. You need to have a strategy when you're ramping up again. You need to have a plan in place. And I would suggest one of the points in that plan could be getting all of your leaders, if only you knew. The idea about this book, I wrote it to give to new leaders who may have no concept of children's ministry. And you go up to them and say, I see a gift on your life. You could really disciple kids. If they read this book, I truly believe they'll serve for longer and with more passion. It's very short. It's meant to be read in one setting. We give it to all of our new leaders, and this could be part of your strategy when you're ramping up to serve again, giving your leaders gifts, not just saying, hey, we're doing some training to get us back up to speed. No, give them a gift, bless them, and as they come up to this new season. So there's my thought. Hopefully that's answered your question, whoever that was. Jess, thank you so much for joining us. This has been really amazing. We pulled this together very quickly, and hopefully a lot of your questions have been answered. If they haven't, we will answer them on the Vault podcast going forward. So send all your questions to thevault@hillsong.com. Jess, say goodbye to everybody.
See you guys.
We'll see you next time if we ever do one of these again, or on the Vault podcast, or somewhere on the internet. Bye, everybody.